So I discovered I'm actually in the top 10% of the world when it comes to typing. One of the fastest typers out there, I guess. And I can even do it without looking at the keyboard. Now, this might be because not a lot of people took the test. But still, I was a little bit happy seeing that I can type so fast. I can't write fast though. Like, my handwriting is atrocious. Alright. Let's see if I can put on some skin on display. Why can't I? Oh, I guess the webcam is. Yeah. Give me a second. I'll put skin in a bit, and then I'll start to whine and complain a little bit about how awful my life is. You see, my cat, as you guys know, ran away from home. It ran away from home, and it came back bearing gifts. Came back bearing presents. Now, I thought that... Oh, shit. This one didn't work well. All right. Technical difficulties. Yeah, I thought that my cat is going to, like, have 1 or 2 kittens. But no. 5. 5 kittens. I have 6 cats. What am I going to do with 6 cats? What? And it's kind of problematic because... giving cats up for adoption isn't that difficult, right? Like, I mean, you can put it online, people will adopt the cat. But the main problem is, like, there's rumors that some people have pet snakes and they adopt kittens just to feed them to their snake. Oh my god, so obviously I don't want to do that, right? Like, I guess I'll need to charge them a small fee, but like, I don't know, like, maybe I'll have friends and family that want it. My question is, how of all the things to resist, it was bloody manga and anime? How? Well, it's very simple, Tactical Droid. The reason manga and anime resisted so long is because it's a different culture. I mean, if you think about the Japanese, they're very strongly anti-communist because they're neighboring China, so they have, like, this strong anti-communist mentality. And it's also because of the way the West managed to get infiltrated. It was the long march through the academia, which Japan didn't have it. So the reason that the West changed is not because, like, the West had its cultural institutions criticized from the outside. No, like, they got changed from within. So the way it works is that, for example, in California, if you have a business bigger than 100 people, I believe, I might be wrong with the number, but, like, I know if your business is bigger than a certain number, you need to have an HR department. And when you have the HR department, you can't just hire anyone to be your human resource manager. No, you need to hire someone that has graduated, and has a license to a university that gives those licenses. So now you have, like, a very woke and progressive person in charge of your company, doing the hirings, the promotions, and the firing. So literally, you just gave ideological control to an ideologically possessed person. So that's why in the West a lot of things got co-opted. Now consider... So talking about the kittens, like, going back, I don't know why I felt the need to respond to Tactical Droid and completely change the subject, but about the kittens. I don't understand where the misinformation came from. Like, I don't know why Twitter isn't removing this misinformation. That you're not supposed to pick up day 1 kittens. Like, you're absolutely supposed to pick up day 1 kittens, and I'll tell you why. Like, first, what you need to do is to wash your hands, right? Because you don't want any germs, and make absolutely sure you're not touching a stray cat or anything. So, after the cat gave birth, and it's cleaning the kittens or whatnot, you want to pick them up to see 2 things. Like, first, if they're alive, because you don't want a dead kitten in the litter. Obviously, like, a dead kitten in the litter is a huge hazard for the remaining kittens. And you can have stillbirths, you can have, like, a lot of accidents that are happening. So you want to pick them up, you want to see if they're wiggling, if they're meowing, if everything is fine. And the second thing that you want to do is you want to check to see if the umbilical cord has healed properly, because the cat usually eats that, right? So the cat is going to separate the umbilical cord itself from the placenta. And sometimes the hemostasis doesn't go as well as it should, and you still have, like, blood dripping from there. So if that happens, you need to quickly clamp the umbilical cord, right? So you should totally pick up the kittens in order to do these two things. I don't understand like why are there so many experts on YouTube spreading misinformation. Yes, you should always pick them up, because otherwise you can end up with a dead kitten in the litter, and that's a huge hazard for everyone. So yeah. Even the Chinese communists make fun of the woke West. Yeah, well, it's fun. It's I mean, Westerners make fun of the woke West. Just because like you're in a different nation and you don't get censored for the stuff you're saying, doesn't mean like you're courageous or you notice something that Westerners don't. I mean, a lot of Westerners make fun of the West. It's just like if you make fun of the West and you're being too edgy about it, you get banned from Twitter. But if you're in China and you make fun of the West, then that's fine. Another angry hobo channel got shut down by YouTube. The irate home bomb is the alternative channel. I don't know who these people are. But still, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't like hearing about YouTubers getting shut down. It's never something that I enjoy. Obviously, in the future, I guess it's just going to be CorpoTube, because only corporations can survive on YouTube. It's so weird. Like it used to be a more fair system, I guess. Like you'd have 3 strikes and you were out. So at least like like, hey, you're doing something wrong. Nowadays, your entire channel can just poof, no strikes, right? And from what I understand, if you even get a strike, your channel gets demonetized. So that's another thing, which is weird. But I guess it is what it is. Hemostasis, I was going to correct you and say homeostasis, but I remember it's totally a different thing. Yeah, hemostasis uses the word hemo, which means blood, so like stopping the blood flow. So in other words, you have a hemorrhage and you need to stop the bleeding, and that's hemostasis. Homeostasis is balance. So when your body isn't sick, it's in a state of balance with itself. The Chinese tweet you posted had me rolling. The balls on the Chinese. There are no balls on the Chinese is what I'm trying to say, Trey. Like if I were in China and I get to post whatever I want and I don't get censored if I post whatever I want about America, it's like the joke where a communist and an American get on a bench and they're talking about freedom. And the American says, the good thing about being in the US is that we can criticize our president, our military, our government. And the Russian says, it's like, well, we have that too in the Soviet Union. We can also criticize the American president, the American military, and the American government, right? So it's not like what they said shows courage or anything. It's just like they know they're not going to get banned for saying it. So it's not really courage or anything. And there is another thing where China apologized. Let me actually show you, because this is also hilarious while we're on the topic. There was like China Airlines, I believe, had a very, very interesting paper. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so this is on the BBC. This is like it's kind of a open secret, I guess. Like people know that China is racist, especially towards black people. This is why Disney, when they're making posters, they usually like either minimize or remove black characters. Like look at the poster Disney made for Black Panther in China and the poster they made for Black Panther in the United States. Same with Star Wars. Like they shrinked Finn. They know like black characters don't sell in China. So for some reason, like Disney, which is for Black Lives Matter, that doesn't really try to educate the Chinese people. Doesn't try to bring diversity in China, right? Now this happened in BBC, and an apology for a racist slur. So this is what they said: London is generally a safe place, according to Air China, to travel. However, precautions are needed when entering areas mainly populated by Indians, Pakistani, and black people. We advise tourists not to go out alone at night, and females always to be accompanied by another person when traveling. And they apologized. They apologized for this message after people noticed it. You would get to see it if you're traveling from China all the way to US. China is a paper tiger. Okay, so this is what Sticks Hexenhammer is saying, and I fully disagree with it. I think the West is a paper tiger at this point. What the fuck is West manufacturing? Like, what exactly is the West producing right now in terms of equipment? Right? Like, if you look at processors, if I'm not mistaken, like 70% of the world processors are made in China. Like, if China were to just boycott the West and stop selling, yeah, it would hurt bad for their economy. But in a scenario where, let's say, you'd have a military conflict or something, and then China just, okay, like, you don't get anything we have, the West is kind of fucked, especially the European Union. So, no, I don't think China is a paper tiger. I think the West is a paper tiger at this point, and I would be willing to debate Sticks on this one. I think he's wrong on this assessment. Google wouldn't let me send you what I wrote about the mindset of business, says Political Defined. I'm really sorry about it. I don't know how to... tell me what you want me to say on Twitter, and I'll see it. Both can be true. I mean, the thing is, like, here's the problem in the West, right? The West is still a democracy, and what it means is that the leaders will potentially be held accountable by the people. Now, the people in the West, they want to live comfortable lives. Like, they don't want to go on without being able to buy a new iPhone, without being able to buy a new laptop, right? So if, let's say, like, the West would worsen relations with China and China would boycott the West, then that party that worsened the relations would probably be viewed in such a negative light that it would be voted out of office. Japan has a communist party in their parliament, and the majority of their party members are teachers and academics. Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that the same in Romania. Like, we got the United We Save Romania party, USR. Now, the party isn't communist per se, but it's got, like, a lot of woke talking points. Like, it's very corporatist, and eventually, like, you get one or two members of them talking about abolishing private property and nonsense, right? So, if you look at their members, they don't have a single plumber, they don't have a single farmer, they don't have a single working class lad. Only academics, corporatists, like, you know, the smart and young people. But they don't have, like, any of the practical and old people. China imports all their high-end computer chips. I mean, maybe, but, like, it doesn't matter if you're talking about the high-end computer chips. Like, what I know, this is what I know about the chips, and correct me if I'm wrong. They're usually designed in the West. So the West is the one that comes up with the blueprints, and then they sell the blueprint. They send the blueprints to China, and they're being manufactured in China. So the largest amounts of processors are being manufactured in China, which means that if the connection would be severed, you'd have a huge problem, because now I guess the only way the West could do is to recycle processors. And don't get me wrong, like, obviously the West could build up the technology to manufacture processors themselves, but it would take a lot of time. It's not going to be done overnight. China has no food. I don't know about that. China is only producing because the West lets them to. Well, yeah, that's the point. But like, I don't care why it is happening. The reality is that it is happening, right? Like, the reality is the way it is. And even if the West would, quote unquote, not let them do it, it would take a couple of years until the West would build the infrastructure themselves, and the prices would probably explode as well, because the demand would be really high, the supply would be really low. So again, like, the population would already will notice that the price of a phone would just double, if not, not even double, like, become 20 times more expensive. And it would be also a lot worse than what they used to have. So, yeah, I mean, people don't like that. In a liberal democracy, like, most people vote based on how well they're doing. Especially the current culture, like the culture that's being created, where it's all about the lifestyle and the consumerism. And, yeah, I mean, those people would probably not like it if the government would manage to get China to boycott the West. Anyway, Yeah, you're right, Tefik. The West would start producing in a year or two, but think about the lockdowns, right? Like the lockdowns lasted a year or two. Not only does it feel like forever, but you already have people on the streets, and you already see like, especially in Europe, how people vote when the elections are coming based on the governments that issued said lockdowns. So I don't know. Anyway, like I don't want to talk about China this stream. I wanted to talk about something more interesting, which is the Masters of the Universe. Revelation hits at the major LGBT romance. So I gotta say, I don't understand why the West can't do romance anymore. I mean, I just watched some old Disney movies with my girlfriend, and I gotta say, like they're still great. You basically like to experience real emotions and feelings, and I'm saying this as a man, right? Like I watched what's it called? I believe Anastasia, the one with Rasputin, right? Like I watched that again, and it actually feels wholesome and it's great. Like the West used to know how to make a good romance story. But when I watched the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, it's just classic cliche garbage. I just genuinely like didn't feel any connection between Tila and He-Man. Just none whatsoever. I don't understand why these people are in love. Like, what exactly do they have in common that makes them want to be together? Like, there is literally nothing. And it's also interesting that because it's a woke show, it needs to have like the woke talking point that all the women are like sisters and all the women are together. And because of this, you have Evelyn, which is a negative, like it's a villainous character. And it takes, I think, like literally 10 seconds for Tila to befriend Evelyn and forgive her. But it takes like literally an entire episode for her to forgive He-Man. So the transgressions aren't even the same. Like He-Man, the only reason that he transgressed is because he was protecting Tila with his secret. Like he didn't want Tila to know that he is He-Man. And on top of that, like he sacrificed himself in order to save her. And because of that, well, not just her, but the entire world, right? He did what a hero is supposed to do. And because of that, she's whining and she's like, oh, you died, but what about me? Like, this is literally her plot point, right? Meanwhile, Evelyn, for entire seasons, like entire years of the show, I guess, was torturing Tila and her friends. But because she's a woman and Tila is a woman, they have like this unspeakable connection. They got like a Bluetooth in their vagina, and they're instantly able to connect and be on the same wavelength and be friends. And this is just awful writing. Human beings don't behave like this, right? Like human beings aren't like that. But my point is, like, you can't create good relationships. You can't create romances. Like again, like this chica, I don't even know her name, whatever, and Tila, right? Like they're buddies. I just don't feel it. Like there is nothing that would explain to me why they're even friends to begin with. Right? I mean, the best example. Let me show you the best example of friendship that you can find in an anime. So this is how you actually do relationships and friendships right. This is the correct way of making the viewer give a shit and actually feel, yeah, like these people are friends. So there's the anime Konosuba. I'm pretty much sure like everyone probably knows about it. It's a very famous one. It's a really good comedy. But what's interesting is that they constantly take the piss on each other. Like every single episode, they make fun of each other viciously. Like you would even say that they're very mean towards one another. But then you realize, oh, well, it's because they're friends, right? Like if they weren't friends, they wouldn't do this to each other. But because they have a deeper relationship, they went through together and they like each other, they're on a deeper level than, whatever this is. Like between Tila and this chica. Right? But like, the thing is, like, human beings act like this. Like, when you're with your friends, you do banter, you trash talk, you shit talk on each other, you can play a mean trick on the other person. You can be disparaging towards it because it's done without the mean spirit. right? And you're also supposed to take it from your friends, and you're also supposed to dish it back. Like it's fun, right? Like it's because you trust each other. You're trusting that the shit that you're giving to other person or you're receiving isn't being spirited. But here there is no banter. Like there is no banter Tila gives to this lady. No banter that this lady gives to Tila. There's no banter that He-Man gives to Tila. It's very plastic. It's like the corporate world of having relationships. It's basically like I wouldn't even say like the idealistic. It's like if a robot were to learn how humans behave, and they would understand all sorts of negativity is bad, only positivity is good. So therefore, banter is not okay. So that's my take on it. Hold on, let me find where the chat is. Here we go. V, they don't want romance anymore. That's why Hollywood is slowly killing anime, manga, manhwa. And by the way, like I didn't know the difference between manga and manhwa. Like I thought like manga is non-Western comic books. Let's put it like this. How wrong I was. I now know the error of my ways. And even Chinese anime has such better love stories. Word bubble up like soda pop. I haven't watched that, but I find the title interesting. I can't read this comment, Doc Bowie. It's hate speech. Why do you bother people with Western entertainment? Because I genuinely want Western entertainment to be good again. I mean, I grew up with it, and I believe that there is a lot of value in the way the West viewed the world. It's a different way that other nations view the world, and I think the way of Superman when I grew up was positive, and I want that to return. The only problem is that in order for it to return, you gotta call out the bad, but you also need to promote the good. And this, to me, like Masters of the Universe, used to have a lot of potential. Could have been an amazing show. They have a couple of storylines that I think they did right, like the one with Orko, but I hate they had to kill him. However, like making Orko gain his confidence and being able to cast magic, I think that was awesome as fuck. But like they didn't have to kill him in the end. Like that was awful, right? So I'm going to just do what I can do, call out the things that I like, promote the ones that I like, and talk shit against the things that I hate. And if other people feel like me, that's good. If people don't feel like me, that's also okay. But I think a conversation needs to be happening because here's another thing, right? Like if you say that, all right, I like the old Tila design better. Let me see if I can bring it up so people know what well, actually not even that. If I were to say this is how I like female characters to look in anime, right? Like, I want them to be gorgeous. I want them to have like shapely bodies. Well, except this little girl. I don't like this. This can be removed, right? But I like darkness and I like aqua, right? Well, if you say something like this, they will call you an incel, right? They will say that there is something wrong with you because of how you want female representation to be like in fiction. And instead, like normal people, they like this thing, right? So you need to like androgynous, muscular women. Otherwise, there's something wrong with you. Okay. In other words, they will call you a virgin, right? Because why do you want to watch anime just to jerk off? That's exactly what they're going to say to you on Twitter. But literally the same people, in a fiction where it should be He-Man battling Skeletor, like it's a cartoon that's pretty much like a power fantasy where two heroes battle it out. The only thing they give a shit about is the LGBT romance. They want to see ladies fuck. That's what they want to do. Like, would it be nice if I were to flip it on them and it's like, oh, so the only thing you care about a show is that you want, how should I, lesbomancy? Huh? Like, do you want to get off to that, you sick fuck? Like, what does that have to do with He-Man? Why do you care? Right? Because you can spin it off on them. But I just don't want to do it because it would make me look disingenuous. Like, I know what they mean when they talk about LGBT romance, right? And I'm pretty sure they know what I mean when I'm talking about, like, having female characters look more like this. But they're being disingenuous and they'll say, oh, so you're an incel. You just want to watch porn. You just Orko's apparently coming back. I think like Adam is coming back as well, right? Because I believe certain characters can be coming back. Like, first of all, we don't know if Orkos actually died. You don't see it on screen. I mean, you just see the explosion. So let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me close this thing because now people are sending me messages. Where is the Adam getting stabbed? Adam stabbed by Skeletor. Alright. So I can't find it, but I think like you guys know the scene where Adam gets stabbed in the back by Skeletor. Now a lot of people. Oh, yeah, here we go. I found it. So if you look at it, technically it's not in a vital area. I mean, he might still be saved if they take him to a hospital right away. Yeah. So it's not the first time that He-Man gets stabbed either. I think it happened in the comic books before. So I guess like they could technically do that. Look here. So it happened in the past. Like He-Man did get stabbed. But I don't know. I mean, it depends on how they want to go. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Like normally, in a common sense way, I would think that because the show is called He-Man, and they also on top of that notice the fan reaction, they wouldn't kill off the main character, or at least maybe they will kill him off for season 2 again, and they would hint at him returning in season 3. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, fuck, like, they simply don't care. Like, they simply don't give a flying fuck. So I'm not even having my hopes up. I don't even know if I want to watch the show, to be honest. It's rumored that the sorceress sacrifices herself to heal Adam. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they will try to rescue him. Are adults still watching He-Man cartoons? Man, like, it's made for adults. Alright? Like, I just want to point out. I wouldn't let my kid watch something that violent. Maybe I'm a little bit old classy here. You know, maybe it's about me growing up in a more conservative environment. But I wouldn't let my kid watch a show where people murder each other. So yeah, I think it's definitely made for adults. I mean, you get so many characters dying in it as well. Remember Roadrunner, ultra violence? Yeah, but like the thing with Roadrunner, none of the characters would die, and you would get that it's kind of a fictional violence. But the thing with He-Man, so when you get like Adam stabbing Skeletor here, right? Like if I was a kid, like a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old, like this would shock me, right? I mean, it's quite graphic. You get like the spike passing through, and there's blood here and whatnot. So yeah, I wouldn't let a kid under the age of 14 or 16 watch this. I'm sorry, no. Too violent. Should watch My Little Pony. Learn about friendship is magic and some base things about why communism is evil. JV gave me a YouTube link. I can't access the link, JV. Like when I click on it, this is what I get. Which is probably for the best. I'm sorry to say this, JV, but like usually when I go on other YouTube channels, I get copyright striked and then I have to remove the stream and it's bad. So, yeah, I apologize for it. Cartoon violence is not the same as realistic violence. I mean, it depends on the type of cartoon violence. If you watch the Spawn cartoon, it's pretty graphic. It's pretty brutal. I mean, you'd probably give a kid nightmare if you show it. Now, you can make the argument you can raise your kids any way you want, but like I'm not going to show them violent stuff until they're at least 14. Just, I'm all classic like that. Also, nothing to do with like any type of sexual activity, preferably. But anyway, right, so after people finish disagreeing with the way I want to raise my kids, we can look at this. So, one of the most diverse, groundbreaking aspects. What is groundbreaking at this point? Like they keep saying, oh, the LGBT angle the series took. How is LGBT groundbreaking? Like, name me a single Netflix show without an LGBT angle in it. Why? This is what I hate about this the most, is that they pretend it's groundbreaking. You know what would be groundbreaking? Coming up with a good storyline. Like, actually making a show that's good. That would definitely be groundbreaking now. So, BOW's dad, the Tosa and Spinnerella being married, Shira and Katra falling in love. Did I watch the same show? Because I don't remember Shira and Katra falling in love. I mean, yeah, sure, like maybe like there was that time where he hugged her and whatnot. But I think like this is what progressives do. They do the same with Captain America and Bucky, right? Like it's gone full circle, really. Like when I grew up, it was a very homophobic environment because I was surrounded by evangelicals. Like if you're a guy and you would hug another guy, it would be considered gay, right? Like they would say, "Oh my God, you're gay." It's literally the same what the wokes are doing now. Like if Captain America and Bucky are having a hug, it's like, oh, they must be LGBT. Oh, please make it so. Please make it so. I'm like, dude, like two men can hug each other and not have anything to do with sex. And it's the same with women. Like, there was no romance that I could find between Tila and this chick. Like, none whatsoever. There was no romance vibes. Nothing. It wasn't there. It was barren. It was a desert. Gave the show a fearless aura and provided a powerful message of acceptance. No. Again, like it's 2021. What the fuck are you talking about? What message of acceptance? It's like, do you honestly think that the people who watch Netflix are like religious, conservative individuals that are homophobic? But thankfully they managed to watch Masters of the Universe and they got their minds changed all of a sudden. Coincidentally, the streaming service seems to be venturing into similar territory with Tila and the Battle. Okay. Initially, when Tila's upset over the Prince Adam's death and how he kept her secret, it felt like she might have harbored romantic feelings for her best friend. So it literally turned her gay. However, as the 5 episodes goes, it's clear that it's platonic and that she's actually hurting from a breach of trust between sibling-like figures. Yeah, so she forgives Evelyn in 5 seconds, and it takes an entire episode to forgive He-Man for literally sacrificing himself to not only save her, but the world, really. Okay, fine, whatever. Instead, when you reconcile key moments between Kila and Andra, okay, so her name is Andra. Wasn't Andra white? That's why I didn't recognize it. Because I was like, wait, why don't I recognize this character? What the fuck is this character? And it's like, oh, it's Andra. Oh, I see. There is a romantic chemistry between them. What fucking romantic man? Okay. This is a very dumb and just like ridiculously written harem anime. Alright, it's about a guy who gets a rental girlfriend in order to go over the breakup he had with his previous ex. And then the ex gets jealous because she thinks that this girlfriend is real. And she gets jealous, like, okay, so I dumped him. And one day later, he comes out with a girl. And he actually introduces this fake girlfriend to his grandma, who's like so happy that he finally managed to get a significant other that she's like over the moon and he doesn't want to break his heart, so he continues faking it. right? Like, but it's like this very interesting anime, and this is like, yeah, there is seriously romantic tensions between them, because the story is like, this chick, like, she wants to be an actress like her mom was. So she goes into the rental girlfriend industry in order to learn acting, like how to act as a girlfriend. And her grandmother is dying, like she's very sick, and the only thing that she wants is to start in a movie to show to her grandmother that she made it before she dies. So this guy like tries to find a way to get her in the movie, because no producer wants her, because everyone is hiring based on nepotism. So he actually crowdfunds money in order to pretty much like make an independent film that she can show to her grandma. Like, the thing is, like, all of the topics in this are not things that would blow your mind. Like, they're day-to-day average things, but they're falling so nicely and in such a way that, yeah, you get to feel the sparks flying, and you get like frustrated, like, why the fuck is he not confessing his feelings? Like, you generally start to give a shit. Like, you generally start to care. Like, this is how you make a good relationship that actually can create a story around it. Right? This is absolute garbage. This is pure shit. The only reason that Andra is in a relationship with Tila, or would have romantic feelings for one another, is because the writers want so. And don't get me wrong, like, the writers probably want for them to also have like relationship, but it feels like the characters are driving the story. This feels like the story is driving the characters. It feels like they're not really characters. Instead, what they are like props that get placed wherever they need to be placed in order for whatever the writer wants to happen. In other words, there is no immersion. Have a great day, everyone. The best kind of diversity is exclusivity, says a crafty Haragok. Thank you, Rusta. V, did you once say you would punish your child by making them watch Western cartoons? Yes! Yes, like, imagine if the kid, I don't know, like, spills the milk or something, and it's like, oh, that's it. You're watching He-Man and the Masters of the Universe now. That kid is going to be so careful when he plays with the coffee cup again. Do you know the reason why they have doe eyes? Nope. It is to make them look like babies. It is some form of pedophilia. Oh, get the fuck out. So you're telling me that the reason God made cats have big eyes is because of pedophilia? Huh? So let me give you another example. Give me a second. Because I basically heard like other people that are reactionary, like far-right individuals, say, oh, the reason people like anime is because they have big eyes, and you know, like it's because the big eyes you get to see in babies. So if you like big eyes, then you're into pedophilia. It's like, okay, well, first of all, I guess even among the pedophilic community, I don't know how exactly they feel about babies, right? Like, they're usually with kids, but even then. But my point is, right, like, a lot of people like owls. And yeah, you know, they got big eyes just like cats. No, seriously, like, I seen an owl in a tree, and it looked like there was a cat in the tree. It's so weird, right? Does that make me a pedophile, you fucking moron? I guess, according to this ideology, right? It's got big eyes. Oh, I like it. It's got big eyes. Oh, alert, alert. Why don't you have a seat over there? I don't get these arguments that people are making. Yeah, okay. I guess like humans have the maternal instinct that when you see something that has big eyes, it makes you want to, you know, hug it and give it affection. But it's a different type of affection. Doesn't mean you want to fuck it. I mean, for the love of God. You know, like, okay, so they have big eyes because the artists in Japan understand the human need of giving affection and feeling, I suppose, some sort of, like, you want to protect, you know, when you see something with big eyes like this. And they're taking advantage of that. But that wouldn't mean that, oh, everyone that likes anime must like to diddle kids. What the fuck is wrong with some people? I should watch Two Girls on Cop. Go away, Caldera. The reason they have big eyes is because it's easier to draw facial expression and accentuate emotions. I think That might be part of it, yeah. But I don't think it's the only one. I think like people legitimately find the things with big eyes attractive, but like at the same time, I think like Alita Battle Angel, right? Like she used to have big eyes in the movie, and it looked kind of creepy. Stop sexualizing Owl. Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's also another thing, right? Like human emotions are also driven by aesthetics a lot. So if something looks cute and pretty, you have like this innate desire to like that person. But if something like looks ugly, then you have like the innate desire of disliking that person, which is why The Hunchback of Notre Dame is such a good show. Well, cartoon, right? Because it actually subverts that expectation. If you look at The Hunchback of Notre Dame, like the whole thing is, right? He doesn't look very good. He's not pleasing. So when you see him, he doesn't look like a hero. He doesn't look like the type of person that you would want to associate with. But when you actually get to know the character, you realize that he's actually the most kind character in the entire Hunchback universe. So that was like a nice way of subverting expectation, like making an ugly hero be heroic. And by the way, he still doesn't get the girl, because, well, the captain of the guard is the one that gets the girl. Let me see an owl without feathers, because now I'm curious. Owl without feathers. Jesus fucking Christ! Bruh! What the fuck is this? It looks like... It looks like an alien. Like it looks outworldly. It's like this is what I would expect to find if we colonize another planet. Damn. I never expected that. Beautiful manipulating people make the best villains. Yeah, that's also against the expectations, which is why Shield Hero is makes such a great villain, right? You get the princess, and the princess is like very beautiful. She's very innocent looking. She knows how to cry on command. She knows how to manipulate others. And yeah, it's a very interesting villain because it subverts your expectation. Like you look at her and she's like a very vulnerable young lady, but in reality she's like a very powerful magic user. She is royalty, so she manages to command a lot of respect and has a lot of connections. So yeah, I mean this is a really good point. You can also make like beautiful villains. Just like you can make ugly heroes, and they can subvert expectations, but you need to do it properly, right? Like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, he's not arrogant, he's not a prick. He doesn't expect other people to think that he is beautiful. He knows his limitations and he understands all this, but he's just a kind soul. Like he is just like doing the right thing and he's being very selfless about it. So that's why like the Hunchback of Notre Dame is a good hero. While, I don't know, like the last interpretation of She-Hulk or even Tila, right? Like Tila's design doesn't really help with this. Like, I mean, it's not really like the type of person that you would feel like protecting or helping in any way, right? So it doesn't really create that instant level of attraction that I guess the villainess from Shield Hero creates. Now look at baby owls found in attic. Man, leave me alone with the owls. I need to get through this article. So the sparks is obvious. I don't know. Like I didn't notice any sparks, but okay. Like here's the problem. If you were to have instead of Tila, you'd have a man, and you would show me like in the first scene where I guess like they're scavenging for money together. I would say that they could just be family members or they could just be friends. I wouldn't say, oh my god, there was such romance involved between the two. It's so weird. I mean, they're really looking into places that there's nothing to be had. The dynamics takes an interesting turn when Evelyn, disguised as an old lady, hires Tila for another job. Tila's adamant she left that life and the traitorous Eternia behind. Yeah, by the way, like, here's another thing about Tila, right? And why she isn't a hero. So all the people in that castle were pretty much her family. I mean, the king, the queen, her father. So all of those people just lost their champion. They just lost Adam. The king and queen are probably traumatized by it, like they're mourning. They're making all dumb decisions. And the country itself, like Eternia itself, is in big danger now because like they lost He-Man. And what does Hero Tila do? Like, fuck it, I'm leaving. He lied to me. He lied to me. Me. Like that's not heroic. Tila makes it clear they're important to each other, which for her is all that matters. Now, this could be construed as a tight friendship, but as the episode roll on, they shoot cute glances towards each other, especially when Lynn lectures in a mentorship role of sort in her redemption arc about women taking back their agency and identities. Yeah, of course. Yeah, which is again like why you're having all of these very unbelievable human interactions, right? Because in order for women to take back their agency and identities, we need to piss on the plot. We need to throw away immersion and have Tila and Evelyn connect to each other and, you know, be buddies, be besties now. Even though, like, the entire seasons and the entire arcs, Evelyn was with Skeletor. Like, Evelyn, the reason she's with Skeletor is because Skeletor is well-connected, very wealthy individual, can offer Evelyn a very good future, man, along his side. And apparently, like, none of that matters. In fact, we get to know that Skeletor was keeping Evelyn down. While it might seem that Evelyn is referring to Adam, she's actually saying that Tila is in love with Andra, who does bicker with Tila. By the way, like I wouldn't even mind homosexual relationships in this show, but like they should be done right. Like you should genuinely feel that those people are in love. I don't feel that Andra is in love with Tila. Like just because they're throwing glances at each other and they're smiling at each other. To me, this shows more lust. Just because like they have lust for one another doesn't mean that they're in love. Just find a motel or some shit and get it over with, and then we can go on with the story. Then we can focus on He-Man battling Skeletor. So Skeletor stole the villain's goblet, blah blah blah. Tila makes it clear to Majester that she's just found something real, something tangible by partnering with Andra. Tila left all her pain behind, but man, like what? So let me get this straight. You know, like again, this is what really pisses me off, right? If I say that I want characters to be more attractive, like I don't like this facial features. I mean, there is this artist that removed Tila's hair and removed Tila's makeup, and she literally looks like a man, right? And I will say, like, I don't like this. I like the previous version of Tila. The answer is like, oh, so you're an incel. Like, you just want to watch cartoons in order to fuck, right? To masturbate. And I get to say, all right, you just want to watch cartoons for the exact same fucking reason. You just want to see Tila porking Andra. That's it. That's the only reason you want. There is nothing else. Huh? You sick, twisted fuck. That's what pisses me off the most. So if I like try to say, look, I'm a straight cisgender white man, I pay for entertainment, give me entertainment. Oh no, there's something wrong with you. Like you're defective. How can you say you like the previous incarnation of Tila? Let me show you the previous incarnation of Tila, by the way. Why can't I find it? Why is it so difficult? Alright. So if you like this, you're an incel. Okay? You're an incel for liking this. But if you watch He-Man of the Universe just to see how Tila and Andra hook up, oh, then that's progressive. That's fine. This is the problem. Like you need more people like me to call this shit out. People don't call it out. People get embarrassed and ashamed to call a spade because most people are like me. Like most people, be honest about it, you would like to see pretty characters in entertainment. And it's not because you want to masturbate or anything. It's because like the female form is beautiful and you like to see more of it. But people don't speak out about it because they're ashamed. They're ashamed to talk about it because then they're called insults and then they're afraid others will laugh at them. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but if you want your entertainment to be the type of entertainment you prefer, you have to defend it. It's the only way. He-Man Adam are also portrayed as an idiot. He didn't think his actions through when he sacrificed himself, and Tila has to go to hell and heaven to get the swords back. No, I don't think that. Most people in real life, in the heat of the moment, don't take the most, how should I say, the most optimal action. The most optimal. Like, for him, it's like, okay, oh shit, like the planet is going to explode. I got like a couple of seconds to do what needs to be done. All right, well, I'll sacrifice myself to protect others. Like, that is reasonable. I don't think, like, it's an idiotic action. I have seen other characters being idiots, especially when it's men. Like, if you play the perfect example, Horizon Zero Dawn, like, most male characters, except, like, the first one, they're just either incompetent, foolish, or evil. And it goes the same for Outer Worlds. Like, all the male characters are either incompetent, foolish, or evil, except for the scientist professor. But, I don't think, like, what He-Man did was idiotic. Like, okay, he just sacrificed himself because he had, like, a couple of seconds to act. That's pretty much fine. And the idea that he stabbed Skeletor, and Skeletor, like, through the stabbing, it tricked him, and it went into that key point. It's like, that's fine. I mean, it's a cartoon, right? Like, it's supposed to look epic. It's supposed to look over the top. I'm okay with that. People on TV have been traditionally beautiful. Everyone likes it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the best example is, like, look at Bollywood. Okay, Bollywood is made in India, so you can't make, the argument that, oh, the West is influencing it. In Bollywood, literally every single actor or actress looks perfect according to Indian sensibilities, right? And it's the same with China. It's the same like why all the actors are beautiful, because beauty sells. That's what it is. It's clickbait. Now, it doesn't mean every single actor needs to be beautiful, man. You can, like, sometimes put, like, mundane or ugly people, that's fine, but the writing should be there. And secondly, it's a question when you don't see any more beauty, you only see ugliness, and it's done on purpose. Like, developers and artists speaking out and expressing themselves, and they're telling that this is how we're told to draw and whatnot. That's when it's a problem. My God, like, I would not want to get on Divina's bad side. You know what Divina Duckworth reminds me? And I know that she's actually a girl in real life. She's like that mean teenage girl from high school. Like, like, this is like the strong woman in reality. Like, she's not probably physically intimidating. But, like, she knows the exact insults to cut what needs to be cut. Like, she will give you, like, the exact insults that just crushes a person's ego. That's what Divina Duckworth does. Like, no, seriously, just look in the chat. Now I'm probably embarrassing her, so she's not going to produce the comeuppance. But every now and then, like, she will just give this zinger that's like, oof. I'm saying how it's portrayed because without magic, the universe is about to end. So his sacrifice was for naught, and it takes a woman, Tila, to save the day. Yeah, but, like, think about, like, what else was she supposed to do, right? So, again, like, it's for a heat of the moment thing. Like, you're probably not even realizing that it's going to end the magic, and you're hoping, okay, maybe I can buy people some time in order for them to find out with the solution. Otherwise, like, he probably didn't even know it was Tila that would do something. Like, could have been Man-at-Arms. My point is, like, it's not really, like, a thing that you would call people idiots. It's like when you throw a grenade in a war and you see the soldier jumping on top of the grenades to protect the others. I mean, I don't find that idiotic. I'm sorry, but I find it heroic. Yeah, it's the mean girl from high school. Which one? Man, instead of complaining like this all the time, why don't you just make your own writing or produce your own movie? There are people who did. I mean, Ethan Van Sciver, right? He produced his own comic book, managed to get $1 million on his just first issue of Cyberfrog. And there's so many people that produce their own stuff. Now, the problem when you produce your own stuff is that you will find out that, like Ethan Van Sciver did, publishers refused to publish his comic. Like, he had to find a way to bypass that. You have, like, Kickstarter and GoFundMe not allowing you to do so. So you get... It's such a difficult job to actually build your own. But the people who did build their own, they're making, like, really good money, hand over fist, which is why on my other channel, I sometimes promote good shit. I promote stuff that I like. Like, for example, The Kingdom. Let me put it on the screen. So, The Kingdom is a Korean... The Kingdom is a Korean film made in South Korea. It's about it's about zombies, but what's interesting about it is that it's zombies in a medieval setting. So there's a very interesting twist, and not only that, but you have like a Game of Thrones element to it. I'll give you some minor spoilers just in case you want to know. One of the one of the kings fell deathly ill, and the queen, she wanted to gain the power, and in order for her to gain the power, she had to keep the king alive until her son came of age. If that didn't happen, then the power would go to the king's son from a different marriage. So what she does is, like, she gets a doctor from that medieval place who had access to a flower which could bring back the living. So they make the king into a flesh-eating zombie. But technically the king is still alive, right? Because, well, he's moving. But just because he doesn't have a mind doesn't mean that he's not king anymore. So the queen now has all the power in the state. And she takes like random people to feed, to give the king to feed on. And what happens is, and this is like very awesomely written. By the way, like the show really reproduces the time period, right? Like, for example, if you commit treason, it's not just you that gets killed; it's your entire family. And like it's a very, very brutal world that is very good described as. And one of the bodies that the king ate gets sent to a hospital for burial. But because there was a massive famine in the area, someone decided to chop off that body and give it to the refugees so they can eat. And they all turn into zombies, and this creates like the zombie pandemic. And it's really great. I mean, man, there's a lot of political intrigue. There's a lot of cool stuff about it. And now Netflix is doing a movie. It's called Ashin of the North. So I like promoting the stuff I like. I know it's on Netflix, but trust me, you know, like people go like, "Oh, V, you should boycott Netflix." And I'm like looking at you, and it's like, look, I can't say, and I can't articulate a lot of things on YouTube that could be articulated. But if you can't figure it out, you're a moron. I'll leave it at that. Like if you can't connect the dots, and you need me to spell it out, that you're a moron. But like there are other ways. That's what I'm saying, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. But there are good shows that I like, and I promote them. When I see something that I like, I say it. Even when it comes to the Masters of the Universe and Tila, I like what they did with Orko. I like Skeletor. Like literally, Skeletor was stealing every scene he is in, except the part where he's Elliot Rodgers. But other than that, I really liked it. I like the voice acting. I like the animation, which is why I'm even more upset that it didn't get to be a commercial success. Because I would not get upset if I didn't like it. You need to like something in order to feel something about it. Like, for example, I don't like football. I don't give a shit that football players are kneeling and everyone is talking about politics now instead of football. I don't give a fuck. I don't like football. I don't care. But I do care about He-Man. Because I grew up with it. And it means a lot. Tactical Droid said, I would trust you to write a nice story. Your D&D campaign had quite nice lore. Why, thank you. That's the kindest thing anyone said. I agree it's heroic. I'm saying how Kevin Netflix present the plot that Adam He-Man was foolish. A denoted grenade isn't going to re-explode. Yeah, I get what you mean. I don't know. I still don't... I mean, maybe if you think about it and you stay and you ramigate the issue, yeah. But then again, when I was watching the episode, I really didn't think about it from the way you're presenting it. So, like, I have, like, this standard. You know, if I'm watching a movie and when I'm watching it, I'm having fun and I don't think about it, I think it's okay, right? Like, for example, Indiana Jones setting off the trap with the boulder. Like, when I watched it, it was cool. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, wait a minute. Like, how could a civilization that only knows to build with sticks and stones can have such an intricate trap that manages to, like, know the exact weight on the pedestal? And why was time not damaging the trap itself? Why weren't the vines breaking, blah, blah. When I was watching the movie, I didn't think about that. So if I didn't think about that when I'm watching it, then I'm having fun. Abdi Muhammad, I did write my own story. I set the Dungeons and Dragons setting when I played with Arch and Sargon. A lot of people liked it. But unfortunately, it wasn't the interesting campaign because the people I was playing with were more interested in PvP with each other rather than exploring the setting. But yeah, I mean, I could write stories. It's definitely time consuming. So the problem is, like, I'm not a good artist, so I can't really draw a comic book. I wouldn't be able to, you know, put the story in a visual manner. But I could make a D&D campaign. I got like 4 or 5 other D&D takes, but I just don't have time to do it. Kabaneri is kind of meh. Like, the Kabaneri is like one of the animes where I could also complain about. It's mediocre, it's enjoyable, but it didn't piss me off, but I didn't like it. I wouldn't recommend it either. In Masters of the Universe, what happens when you put those two swords half together? Nothing. Like, it actually needs to get reforged. Anyway, right. So thank you guys so much for the donations and thank you for watching. Hopefully today was a little bit more entertaining because I did like that interesting crossover event between my channels, I suppose. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how upset progressives are because manga exists, and the East has a interesting influence, cultural influence against the West, and it's very interesting because back in the day, the Soviet Union didn't like that the West was out-culturing the Soviet Union, so they raised the Iron Curtain, right? Because the movies made in Hollywood were better than the ones made in Russia. The art made in the United States was better than the art made in Russia. Like, they hated rock and they hated metal and they hated, you know, like pretty much everything that the West made. And now, so they had to censor, right? But now it's the other way around. Now it's like Japan is making good shit and China is making good shit and South Korea is making good shit. And I'm saying it's good shit not because I like it, but because people spend money on it. I mean, Genshin Impact, you know, a famous game that everyone is playing and it's quite popular. It's just one example. So what does the West do? It's like they're trying to find out ways how to stop this from spreading. And it's like, okay, if we can get the corporation to censor on behalf of us and tell the Japanese and the Chinese, and it's like, okay, if you want to sell to our market, you have to cut up to these terms of service. You know, it's such wow. Like, the roles have completely switched. Should have been the other way around, by the way. Like, China should be the one that's constantly trying to censor American culture, not the other way. But it is what it is, I guess.